Good morning and welcome to ASI Radio, where ASI's most outspoken editors talk promo products and more. I'm Joe Haley. I'll be joined today with the one and only Nate Kuzma. He's the Director of Research for ASI. Good morning, Nate. How you doing?
I'm good. This is the second week in a row I've had the pleasure of joining ASI Radio.
How about that? So what'd you think of that World Cup game on Sunday night?
Well, here's what I thought. I thought it was the single most exciting 16 minutes of sports I've ever seen. And then it wasn't. But it was an incredible 16 minutes of sports.
Well, congratulations. Team USA getting their third World Cup, the women, and it's very exciting. And one of the players is very close to Philadelphia here. Carly Louie grew up and played her soccer in Delran, New Jersey.
Absolutely. Big member of ODP's soccer program, which my daughter has tried out for many times.
So then we might see her on the World Cup stage someday?
Well, that would be exciting.
All right, well, we'll hit you up for a ticket. All right, today we have a special guest. We have Johnny Campbell. He is the transition man. He's the author of 6 business books. He does it all. He's joining us. He's also going to be at the ASI show in Chicago next week. And welcome, Johnny.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Glad to be with you.
Oh, man, we are so happy to have you here. Johnny, we're going to jump right into it. In your video post, you introduce yourself as the transition man. What does that mean to you?
Well, first is I don't fix transmissions, but I actually my focus is on helping people move through the objections, the obstacles, and challenges in their business so they can earn more money and increase their revenue. And the issue is always change. People have such an issue with changing how they do business to be more successful. So I suddenly said, well, why don't we look at this change as a transition to a better way of doing things, and I shall be a transition man. So that's kind of how I gave myself the name, the Transition Man.
So, Johnny, that's great. So this is Nate. I'm thrilled to talk to you. So I guess one of the things that when you just mentioned about change and how people have a hard time adopting the change, I know I do, and I know a lot of other people do. But one of the biggest changes in business over the last few years that's come up is social media. So what's the leading mistake that you see distributors in our industry making as it relates to social media?
One of the things is it's a lack of clarity as to who they're actually looking for inside of social media, whether it's no matter what network you're in, you got to be clear on who you want to speak to and who you want to reach. So when people talk about change, when they talk about social media like a party, well, if you're at a party, you got to know who you want to meet at the party so you can have the right conversation with them. So the issue is who.
And I guess one question I have about when you said who, if somebody doesn't know who they want to target, what are some tips for them to determining who would be best for them?
Well, they first have to look as a promo person. They need to look at the products and services they offer and understand, okay, this particular product is great for organizational loyalty. This product is great for acquiring new customers. They got to get clear on the product they're offering. Then they got to think about, okay, who in this social space, business owner, entrepreneur, whoever, who needs this type of product to leverage. In other words, you got to know who you're looking for. You got to know what their problem is, and you got to know how your promo item is the opportunity that they need in order to get what they want out of their business.
Johnny, we've talked a lot about social media and the need for people to be connected with their clients and potential clients on there. So if you're working with a distributor who hasn't yet developed a social media presence, what's the one piece of advice you'd give them, the first thing they need to do?
They need to create some content that is relevant to the client, type of clients that they want to reach. And one of the things that I've seen that is the most easiest for a promo person is to create a video that showcases who they are, the products and services they offer, and who they seek to serve with those items. That's probably the easiest and quickest thing that they should start to consider to work on first. But it's got to be content creation as it relates to the client they want to reach.
Well, what are some other pieces of content they can actually create?
They can create little special reports. Like for example, in the promo world, there's like the 10 things that promotional products do for business. That's a piece of content that they could put into the social space where trying to use that as a way to attract the clients that they want to reach. So they could create a little report, 10 things you need to know about promo items and how you can grow your business. Or they need to create some audio where they're being interviewed, like on the radio here. They get interviewed on the radio. They can have that recorded and put that in their social space so that clients start to see them as not just the guy selling or gal selling promo items, but an expert and an authority in this area.
So will that also help with their search engine optimization?
That will start to definitely start to contribute to their search engine optimization, because what will start to happen is that as you start placing more and more content with relevant, what they call keywords, relevant words that associate to who you want to reach, the search engines start to pick that up as people start to search for that type of information. So yes, it starts to build.
So I guess let's say you're talking to a distributor, and you might run into this in Chicago if somebody comes up to you. They'll come up to you and say, "Listen, I have a social media presence. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, but I'm really not getting as much traction off it as I want to." What would you say to them as far as how can they go about enhancing and improving the interaction that they're getting from social media when they already have the basics down?
Right. Well, then the first thing is, after I identify that they've got clear on who their target is, I would start to dissect their social media presence and say, okay, do you have an offer on your social media? Do you have a clear call to action in your social media? It's great to educate everybody, but it's about making sales. Are you calling them to action to go do something after they look at your content? Are you creating information that's like so engaging that they want to click on it and come over to your page? That's another piece. Many times, promo people are in the social space, but they don't have links that take people back over to their primary website where they can do business or to acquire more of that person's information. They don't have landing pages.
So it's really making sure that your social presence is hooked up in as many ways possible with your other online presence so that you can actually not only inform them but also do business with them instantaneously.
Absolutely. That's probably the biggest challenge. There's no bridge over. I've seen a lot of promo people provide great content, but there's no call to action to leave that social space and come over to their page and provide information, to get a phone call, to do anything. It's a call to action. There's no call to action because there's no landing pages or engagement pages outside of their social space.
All right, Johnny, let's talk about LinkedIn. Some people call it the Facebook for business professionals. How important is it for a distributor to have a presence on LinkedIn?
Oh, it's very important there because that's where your customers' profiles are, and who they are in. So if I'm trying to make a contact or a connection with a client, then I'm going to go to profile. I'm going to go there and I'm going to look for their profile, but I'm not going to just look at their profile. I'm going to look and see what groups they're a part of. Are they part of any causes, hobbies, or schools? That's my way to start creating a connection with this person. So by knowing this additional information about them, that's my way of leveraging my way into a real conversation with this person. So LinkedIn is great for that. It helps you understand who you're really dealing with and their background so that you can engage them when you reach out to them.
So, I have a LinkedIn profile. I would imagine just about everybody listening and everybody in this room, I'm sure, has a LinkedIn profile. What are some tips, though, if you own a promotional products business? What are your tips for getting your LinkedIn profile to stand out from others?
I really believe it's video now. More than ever, video is the number one way to do it. And having videos on your page, if somebody wants to go to my page, they would see videos on my page there. And those videos are ways for me to engage you, call you to action, tell you what I do and how I do it, and give you proof that I can produce results. So videos, and that's probably the biggest thing that a lot of promo professionals are falling short on. They're not investing in videos for their business. And so that's why I keep pushing that over and over, that that's the way now to stand out from all the other individuals.
So let's say you're talking to a distributor in Chicago next week, and they say, and you say, you really got to put videos on your website, you got to put videos on your LinkedIn page, but they're nervous about doing it. What would you say to them if they say, I'm nervous about doing videos, I've never done it before? How would you tell them to get over that fear?
Well, fortunately, there are definitely suppliers who can provide video production for them if they want to create a formal video. Also, they've got to, on just about every phone, you can create a video on your phone. Also, there is definitely video recording services and equipment out there that you can record yourself, whether it's through your own computer or somebody else recording you. And these don't have to be totally what I call movie theater production, but these are just simple videos that say who you are, what you do, and how you do it. Matter of fact, there's even, like I said before, there are even services out there that I personally know of, happy to offer anybody reference to, that can help you create some simple video commercials that showcase your business.
Here, Johnny, we're talking about some social medias like LinkedIn and Facebook and stuff. You also keep mentioning videos. Is YouTube an important tool to use with trying to reach out to clients and potential clients?
Oh, it's absolutely critical because here's the thing. Whatever videos you record, you want to upload them to YouTube because YouTube is becoming like basically when Google bought YouTube, that's a sign right there that this is search engine optimized now. So you want to create videos, upload them to YouTube because they're going to come up in the search engine when people are Googling for things. Also, because YouTube is just it's become its own search engine now, just about, because everyone goes there to find things that are funny, of course, but also educational things and also products. When people want to get an understanding of something, they tend to go to Google and they go to YouTube so that they can see a video version of that. So that's why I encourage people to take their videos and move them all around their social media. It can do nothing but help them and improve their search engine.
And what's the cost for using YouTube?
Well, great. YouTube is free, and that's the thing. There's no excuse. It's you can take a video on your phone, upload it to YouTube, and there you are. You're in the game. If you want to be a little bit fancier, you can always be a lot fancier. But the videos help people understand who you are, what you are, and who you're trying to help.
So obviously on YouTube, what you're posting are videos. Now, what about the others? So are there any specific tactics that somebody might use if they're posting on, types of content on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Pinterest? Is there any types of content or areas that really work best on one of those versus another?
Well, I think that, of course, with Pinterest and Instagram, photographs are the best thing. But even in those, there should be a way to call people to action, even in those photographs, so that they want to click on it, they want to see other things. The video is really a critical thing because you can put a video link in a tweet. If you're going to tweet out something, check out this video. You can put it on Facebook, and it'll play on Facebook. You can put it in LinkedIn. So you're really getting a huge bang for your buck when you create a video and post it in multiple places. Also, when you see current events and issues that are going on, why not create a video as a commentary to that social or whatever issue? And you'll get a lot of people watching that video. When they watch the video, you express your issues and your remarks about it, but call them to action to come over to your site and check you out.
All right, Johnny, beyond social media, what are some of the leading mistakes that you see distributors making, and what should they be more focused than what they typically are doing right now?
Well, I go back to this famous phrase here. Most people in the promo industry are really good at trying to go out and find new customers. But when that customer lead system starts to die down, they go into what I call random acts of marketing. They get random again, and they start floundering around when the gold in their business is in their business. I would tell any promo person, you need to work on your lost customer recovery. You have so many customers that have not been touched, have not been contacted because they weren't ready to buy in the beginning. So there's holes in their bucket, lost customers. There's also holes in their buckets when it comes to referrals. They're not doing those in an aggressive and systematic way. They seek referrals when they're in trouble. They look for lost customers when they're in trouble, but these can be systems that can be put in to help them recover more customers and get more referrals if they have a system.
All right, well, Johnny, that's all the questions we have for us. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add.
Well, simply that, when it comes to building their business, it's always about these three things: mindset, sequence, and system. You got to be thinking the right way about who you want to help. You got to do it in a sequential way to reach that person, and then you got to have systems that help you continue to stay in touch, get referrals, and recover lost customers so you can grow your business.
Well, Johnny, thank you very much. Anyone wants to get some further in-depth training with Johnny, who'll be in ASI, Chicago next week. We'll be there on Education Day, July 14th, and we'd like to see, I'm sure Johnny would like to see you too.
All right, then. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Johnny.
Johnny, thanks for joining.
One thing with social media, and we talk about social media a lot, and, one of the things I find most difficult is being as active as I think you need to be on something like Twitter.
I agree.
I mean, Twitter's got to be something that, at least I think one post a day. But when you get, everything going on with your job and things you got to do, sometimes, you kind of slip. And it is easy. I shoot the Joe Show twice a week. It's easy for me to just, grab that URL, and just tweet it out. And sometimes I'm good with that, and other times I forget.
Yeah, what I found, and I've talked about this before because I've actually seen this as sort of a best practices, and it's something that I don't do a very good job of following, but I really should, is when you are when you get in a zone, like a zone to write tweets, to figure out what you want to say. Once you post a tweet, you probably have a bunch of other ideas that are going through your mind about other things that you could also put up there, but you don't want to put 15 things up at once. What you should do is write all 15 of those things down, and then just have a log of things that you can just draw on when you can't think of anything to post, just so that people stay constantly engaged with your feed.
The other thing is sharing people's tweets and retweeting tweets and responding to tweets. And it seems like, you need more time that's sometimes available to you to be able to look at your, Twitter tracker, and see what's going on. So see what people are posting, see what they're saying.
I think for a very long period of time, especially in the early days of social media, it was seen as if you're on social media at the workplace, you're wasting time. The reality is that while that certainly was the case, now everybody is on social media. So even if you're looking at your Facebook feed or your Twitter feed, and you have 100 friends who are posting things, you also have probably 15 or 20 business associates or other companies you follow that are also posting things. So you're reading those at the same time as you're reading other things. So it's gets to the whole blending of your personal and business life, but that's just another way it's happening.
And then the last part is, how much is too much? How much, if it's too much, does it start to become just white noise? It's just that, noise in the background. It's a gnat flying around your face. I mean, you just want to swat it away. It's like, oh, this post again, this person again.
Unless you have, I've always believed this, and this is, unless you have something to say, don't say anything. Don't just post a tweet that you've posted 15 times in the last month because you think you have to have something. Because then what happens is it does become white noise, and then you will be tuned out.
All right. So we're going to move on here. Nate, I have a topic I'd like to talk about. It's 5 tips to running productive team meetings. I know that, everyone in the business world usually sits in some sort of meeting at some point in the work week, the work year. And, maybe if you're a 2-person, office, you still have meetings.
But people love attending meetings.
Meetings can be productive, and here are some tips to keep it that way. Plan ahead. Too often you go into a meeting and there's really no plan other than we want to discuss X, Y, and Z, but you need to plan ahead. This says, take some time to plan your meeting agenda before sending out invites. So in other words, why are you having this meeting? And have that, reason why before you invite everyone to come. The other thing you need to do is prepare your team. So you need to prepare that agenda. Just don't keep it for yourself. Make sure you're sharing that with people who are coming to the meeting. I run a monthly meeting for a soccer organization, and I make sure that a week prior to that meeting, all the coaches who are coming to the meeting get the agenda to know what we're talking about. And at the end, of course, we have open discussion. But it's important to have that agenda. Stick to your agenda and schedule. That's another thing. A lot of times, some of these things can go off on tangents. And some could run longer. So if you're blocking an hour of time and there's 3 topics you want to discuss in that hour, make sure that you allot the right amount of time. And when you get to that time frame, this article suggests that you stop it there, and then you follow up with key people after the meeting is over.
One thing that I've always tried to follow, if I have an hour presentation that I have to give on some extraordinarily strong market research results I've done. I make sure the presentation is no more than 45 minutes long. So that way I have 15 minutes built in for people to go on those tangents or to have things to speak about or to go off in slightly different directions so I don't run over my allotted time.
Right. Get everyone involved. How often do you sit in a meeting and it might be 10 people and there's a handful who haven't, offered anything, and maybe, they haven't been engaged. Maybe they feel that their opinions aren't going to be considered or even heard. So, it's important to try to get everyone involved. Ask someone who has remained quiet for his or her opinion and encourage discussion between team members. Okay, so, if you're not saying anything, if you're not opening up, or if someone's not opening up, you need to help open them up. And finally, it says actively listen. Lean in, make eye contact, nod your head when your team members are talking. Make notes and ask follow-up questions. Your participation as an active listener will set the tone for your team members who will naturally follow your lead. So I think there's some good tips there. We're going to post this article on ASICentral.com/radio.
Yeah, I got one here as well, and this was from Inc.com, and it's 11 cringeworthy mistakes that could ruin your business.
Okay.
Now, there's a whole lot more than 11 cringeworthy mistakes that could ruin your business, but these are some of the top ones. And the first one that I love is using last year's methods. I can't tell you how many times I've heard in business, well, this is the way we've always done it, which is possibly one of the most dangerous phrases you can ever have in business. Just because something's always been done that way doesn't mean it's the right way.
Right.
And in a business world that constantly changes and evolves, it doesn't mean that it's the only way to do things anymore.
Correct.
So constantly using last year's method. You have to you don't always want to be way ahead of the curve because sometimes that's dangerous. But you certainly have to be current with the curve. Another one is I like this one, treating your time as silver
Instead of treating it as gold.
instead of treating it as gold.
Okay.
Because a lot of times you only have so many hours in a day. And you only have so much time that you can devote to things like social media, to interacting with current customers, to trying to prospect for new. So if all of a sudden you get up, you get to work in the morning, you spend the first 45 minutes, catching up on your email, looking at your personal news feed, looking at your personal Facebook, that's 45 minutes that you can never get back. So you have to, utilize every minute of every day to get what you want out of it, and really think about where your time drains that you can never get back.
Okay.
The last one I want to go to, and this is great. It's letting customers become numbers. If you after years you have a successful customer. Now there was an old American Express commercial.
Don't leave phone without it.
No, slightly same genre, but it was guy walks into a boardroom and says, we got a call from one of our oldest customers. He said he didn't know us anymore. So what he did was he sent all of his salespeople out to visit all of their current customers because they didn't know them anymore.
Right.
And he went to go visit that old customer because they had all become numbers on a spreadsheet. It's important to still maintain a personal level of connection with all of your customers, even if it's as much as a little as a phone call or a handwritten thank you note with every order that they place. It's important to just try to maintain that level of connection with each of your customers.
We have a coworker who routinely once a week calls 3 people just to catch up, just to see what's going on, see how business is, how life is, just to chit chat. At least 3 people a week within this huge, massive Rolodex, and that's a good way because you keep in contact with you. They think of you when they need something.
That probably takes him no more than 25, 30 minutes a week.
Right.
Out of a 40, 50-hour work week, that's nothing. And all of a sudden, when he has to reach out to these customers, they have to reach out to him. There's no level of awkwardness around it.
Who does this well, not thinking of their company, clients as a number, is Zappos. I mean, we've heard so many stories about Zappos, of how, order takers, for lack of a better, description, whatever their titles are, they're empowered to do some really cool things. My favorite story is the woman who bought a pair of shoes for her mother who passed away, never wore them. Could she send them back? They said absolutely. And then a day later, she gets flowers in the mail and a condolence card from the reps at Zappos. So that's what creates customers for life, and you're not thinking of that person just as the number, the person who purchased a pair of shoes.
And not to sound totally callous, but those things have incredible legs. Once you do, if that gets made public by the woman who received those flowers, not by the company itself, but if that actually gets out there on social media, the goodwill that generates in the overall community can't be purchased by Zappos.
Right. So I think it's important for sales reps and companies, to get all the pertinent information about clients, just not what they're buying, but when's their work anniversary, when's their birthday, what are their likes and dislikes, what type of sports fan, are you a women's soccer fan? You could have said, hey, how about that game last night? It gives you an opportunity. Just send a quick email, know that you're thinking about them.
Yeah, just to don't only have hard information on them, what they purchase, also have the soft information too.
All right. Nate, you're going to have that article posted online as well at asicentral.com/radio. That's all the time we have for today. We'd like to thank again Johnny Campbell, the transition man, for being with us today. You can see him next week in ASI Show Chicago on Tuesday, July 14th. Until then, we're out of here.
All right. Good job.